This video will talk about the social classes in colonial America. The group members are Phoebe G., Johanna L., Abigail H., and Karina R. The social classes were very rigid in England because it was hard to move up to a higher class. Land was the main measure in England and other European countries, but it was in the hands of few people.
A group known as the Gentry were upper class of colonial society. It included wealthy planters, merchants, ministers, royal officials, and successful lawyers. Also considered gentry are prosperous artisans like goldsmiths. Even though the gentry were few, they were the most powerful. Their homes featured gold mirrors, clocks, richly covered furniture, and jewels. Few but the gentry would afford to hold office because many official jobs paid no salary. The gentry felt that serving the community in public office was both their duty and their right, and most people agreed.
The middle class is neither poor or rich. They are made up of small planters, independent farmers, and artisans. Middle-class men were allowed to vote. About 1% of African Americans were free during the colonial period. The middle class gave the poor something to hope for. The colonies were different from England and the rest of Europe. The more land they had, the richer they would get.
An indentured servant is someone who signed a contract to work from 4 to 10 years in the colonies for anyone who would pay for his or her passage to the Americas. They came from England, Ireland, and Germany. They had few rights. If they disobeyed or tried to run away, they were whipped or had to work for more years. At the end of the term, indentured servants received clothes, food, tools, and 50 acres of land. After they were done, some returned to Europe or joined the class of poor landless whites. Only 1 in 10 indentured servants became prosperous landowners.
Free African Americans wasn't a large percentage of the colonial population. When the first census was taken in 1790, 60,000 people were free and 757,000 were enslaved. Free African Americans were also allowed to own property. They could also be slaveholders. However, they weren't allowed to vote or sit on juries.